We're going to be streaming to Twitch, and we'll come in and I'll play the intro music. You might not hear it. You might. I don't know. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. But
never works.
If you might be silent for a minute, but then we'll come in, introduce you, and then we'll just go from there and talk about whatever pops up.
All right, cool.
Very laid back and conversational.
Sweet.
All right, I got this tweeted out, and get some people in here in a few minutes. And we ready to do this, gentlemen?
I am if you are.
Yeah.
Here we go in 3, 2, 1. That music can only mean one thing. It is time for the OpenMicersPodcast. My name is Jason Robbins.
I'm Jacob Craig, and we are back with another very special guest this episode. You know, we were lacking for a little bit there with our guests. We were having, a couple of host episodes, couple of guests that maybe weren't, the funniest. But we've got some great fucking guests coming on this month, dude. And this is one of them. We've got a guy coming on who you can see on Access Gotham TV Live. He has 2 stand-up specials, one available on Amazon, one available for free right now on YouTube called No One Asked for This, which is the best title for a self-released YouTube special that I've heard yet. Please welcome Joe Pontillo to the show. How you doing, man?
Hey, guys. How are you?
Doing good, man.
Doing well, dude.
Glad you could join us here on the show. And yeah, it's nice having you here. I know you're a New York-based comedian, and so tell us where you got your start, what your first time was like jumping on stage, and how that led to your career.
Oh God, I don't know if we need to revisit that again, but I did actually talk about. Well, it's a joke I do on stage a lot about the first time I did comedy, because I always wanted to do it. I always wanted to be in entertainment, and then I had to watch. I watched like Jerry Seinfeld's like A&E biography. I was like, oh, he did stand-up comedy, and boom, 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 he has a sitcom. And I was like, well, that's what I'm going to do. Which hasn't quite gone the same way. So now we're here. And, but whatever. But I love doing it. And, wouldn't change anything. So the first time I ever did comedy, I was like 18 or 19. And I was I was in college, Hofstra University. And Dave Chappelle was coming to perform at the school. Somebody at the school was like, let's have a comedy contest to see who's the funniest student, and they'll open for Dave Chappelle. And to this day, I'm like, did he sign off on that? Probably not. So the worst part is a full crowd of people, like a whole audience, packed auditorium, came to watch the show to see maybe 25 to 30 students who had absolutely no idea how to perform stand-up comedy, do their time or whatever. And I was probably one of the few people who actually was like, this is going to be my life at some point. And then, but I was not ready to do it. I had no game plan. I didn't get any laughs. I froze. And then for some reason I was like, I got to salvage this somehow. And I decided I was going to fart into the microphone.
Oh, yeah. Solid move. Tried it a couple of times, never worked.
And
that's a
and
Jacob.
I was so proud. I put the mic to my ass and made a fart noise with my mouth. Which, holy crap! Thank God, it was like the early 2000s. Nobody was filming it with their phone. And that was that for like a year and a half until the next time I got on stage.
That sounds like a Jacob Craig move right there. The audience is going bad, farting in a microphone.
Yeah, that sounds like a good day.
Legendary.
It sounds.
I can never get the fart into the mic. I usually blow my load too early.
It's also got to be a really good mic to pick up the sound the right way.
And a really good fart to get into the mic.
So many things have to go right. What was I thinking?
That sounds a lot like
too many variables.
Like me and Jacob, our origin stories, where me and Jacob actually did our very first time doing stand-up open mic was on the very same night. We didn't know each other then, but it was on the same night, and it went terribly for me, and I didn't get back on stage for about a year and a half because it took me that time to get up the courage to do it again.
Yeah, I don't know if like I needed to build up the courage, or I just didn't know what to do next. Because like I still wanted to do it, but it wasn't also like, oh man, I need that fix again, because there was no fix. That was just I was like, I don't know what this is. Should I tell people about this? You know, and then like a year and a half later, I went to school with Jim Brewer's like niece and nephew, and I was sort of friends with them. And I was like, "Hey, how did your uncle start doing stand up?" And he was like, "Oh, they just started doing the open mics on Long Island." And I was like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense." So I signed up for like the Governor's Comedy Club open mic, which was not just an open mic; it was also a bringer open mic. But when you're new, you're like, bring friends to see you perform. Yeah, that's awesome. Of course. Why wouldn't I do that? And then it just starts this never-ending cycle that you can't get out of.
Yeah.
So who ended up opening for Dave Chappelle?
I never found out specifically. Someone just told me that someone went on stage like towards the end and just like made fun of all the other comedians or something. So basically someone roasted all the other comics, and I guess they got to, or no one opened. Maybe Dave Chappelle showed up and was like, "What? No, no." Yeah, which is what I would have done. I would have been like, "You did what? No one's opening for me. Get out of here."
Yeah, that's probably more likely that what happened. He probably showed up and was like, "No, this is not. You're not doing that."
Or if it was me, I would have disguised myself as a college student and done the contest and win, so I could just open for myself to prevent anything stupid from happening.
Coming to the stage, Chave DePel.
I dig it.
So, Joe, I have to know, are you not drinking Bud Light, or are you drinking Bud Light out of spite? Which side of the fence are you on?
I go back and forth. First of all, I'm not a beer guy to begin with. But I do love angering people for no good reason. So I'm buying Bud Light to own one side, but then I'm throwing the Bud Light into the river without drinking it to own the other side of the political. I want to just cover all my. I want to make everybody angry.
Right. Yeah, I don't think that there's anything that on this planet that could get me to drink Bud Light.
No.
No amount. You can put whoever the fuck you want on that beer can. I'm not putting Bud Light in my mouth. It's disgusting.
No, sorry. I'm just like, why do they even have beer commercials at this point? Like, if they stop advertising it, are people going to stop drinking? Probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's everything, too, though. It's like McDonald's still runs commercials. They don't have to. They're always there.
They're always there. They're always open.
Yeah, I never thought about
that. I'll never forget.
Many times I've seen beer commercials. I've never seen a beer commercial and be like, I need to go get that beer. Like, that's never once happened to me.
No, at best I'll see a beer commercial and I'll be like, well, that place they're hanging out looks cool. Where's that? Yeah. I want to go hang out there.
Yeah, where's this pool with all these bikini-clad women who like guys who drink Bud Light? Where's this?
That party looks awesome. I don't care about the beer.
Is that Kid Rock's house? Are they partying at Kid Rock's house in the Bud? Is that why he was so mad? Because they were at his house for the Bud Light commercial?
Then you crack open the beer, you're home alone, no one shows up, and you're like, well, that was misleading.
Yeah, could we sue the beer companies for false advertising? Because
talk about misinformation.
Yeah.
Am I right?
I never cracked open a beer and a party spontaneously happened.
I've tapped the Rockies, and I almost died in an avalanche. All right.
Dude, I've been at parties and I cracked open a Bud Light and the party got worse. Bud Light makes nothing better.
Who invited this guy?
Get that shit out of here, piss water.
So, Joe, you've recently recorded your second full-length comedy special. No one asked for this. Releasing it on YouTube, doing it all yourself. What decisions went into, sort of putting up the money yourself to record the special and putting it on YouTube? Because that's a very ballsy move to do it all yourself and release it yourself.
Yeah, I actually produced both myself that I did. The first one, I had two friends of mine who just had cameras, and I was like, "Would you guys film me?" And it worked out. And in this one, so I was in a movie. I'm in a racing movie, and it's called Sunday, 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 and it's in all these festivals, and it's doing really well. And the guy that made the movie was like, "Hey, would you want to shoot a comedy special?" I was like, it's probably time for that, because I had in my head been like, I want to do like a post-pandemic special, I sort of. And then I had a place that I had recently performed at where I shot it, and I asked them if I could, have a day there, and they were like, "Yeah, why not? We got nothing going on." So it was just a number of things that worked out, and then someone had actually reached out to me about distribution when I announced it, but they never really followed up. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to put it on YouTube. And I guess that's where it's at right now, because if you go on YouTube, it's Tommy McNulty's blah 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 special. I'm like, oh my god! So I guess dropping a YouTube special is the thing to do in 2023. So I guess I did it at the right time.
Yeah, that seems to be where most of the good specials are ending up these days. Is either on YouTube or some of the smaller streaming services.
Yeah, I'd like to get on, what is there, like Crackle, or what's the other one, Pluto TV or something. Those are going to blow up next after Netflix dies.
Oh, yeah, dude, you got to get on Tubi. If you don't have a Tubi special, you're nobody. Tubi, Pluto TV, they've got fucking, what else? Fucking Adam Hunter has his specials exclusively on UFC Fight Pass. He's the MMA roasted guy. So he does all of these like UFC fighters try stand up and all this stuff. And so he just sold his special to UFC Fight Pass. So you're watching old UFC tournaments, and then you just see Adam Hunter's face fucking pop up. It's like, I'm gonna do an hour of stand up while you're trying to watch the LFA prelims.
That's awesome. And you see the UFC fighters like trying to take a swing at it. Yeah, right. That's what you want. Yeah, I was gonna reach out to the Golf Channel, one of the somebody who needs to get into stand-up comedy. Maybe the Weather Channel. They're not doing anything. They do, MTV doesn't show music anymore. The Weather Channel just shouldn't even have weather anymore. They should have comedy specials and like a ridiculousness type show or something.
Hey, if you were on the Weather Channel app, you'd be really easy to find. Just tell people, where can we watch your special? Weather
people
Channel.
Like, what's the weather like in the Midwest? Who's this? A comedy special? What the hell?
Dude, the Weather Channel's out here wilding though. They'll have like actual shows and shit while they're just doing the weather on the side, and the show will be like the top 100 most dangerous storms in America, and it's just showing like people's houses getting destroyed with like some deep voice narrator going over it.
Take a look at the weather in San Diego.
Yeah, right. It's like, I wonder what our high for today is going to be. And you tune in, and it's just like still Katrina footage of people's homes getting flooded away.
Right. There's always a clip of a mudslide somewhere, and I've never quite figured out where that is, but it looked terrible.
Right. Dude, they might as well just play 1,000 Ways to Die over fucking.
And now on the Weather Channel, Faces of Death.
I mean, how did this happen? Like, 20 years ago, the Weather Channel was just, it was the same thing over and over again. It was some light jazz music with your local, temperature and everything. And now, it's like Jacob said, it's like 1,000 ways to die in the weather, like all the time.
With fucking Slipknot playing over it.
Top 20 weatherman bloopers of 2022.
Dude, I wish they'd play something like that. That'd be fucking funny. Dude, they need to start putting... Okay, here's my goal. For when I'm ready to film an hour special, I'm going to try to market it to the people that put the shows on the little gas pump TVs.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah. Talk about a captive audience. Like, you've got those people for several minutes.
You're thinking you're going to get Marina Menounos, and it's me doing fucking 45 minutes on whatever. It's like, I'm going to just keep pumping gas because this guy's funny.
Picture this for the future. You go to an airport or a gym. No more CNN or Fox or anything. Comedy specials. Everywhere. The entire airport. Every gate is a different comedy special.
Hey, it'd be a hell of a lot nicer world instead of having Fox News or CNN on every TV in the airport.
Yeah, the last thing I want to watch when I'm going onto a plane is like, the world is dying. Everyone hates each other. The weather's bad. Another gun shooting. Hey, have fun on your flight. Like, I don't need that. It's okay.
Yeah, right.
It's not a bad idea, Jacob. What they could do with the gas stations is, no matter how much gas you're getting, they put a little mechanism on the actual, gas pump itself, so it locks itself into your gas tank, so you can't leave for the entire 45-minute special.
Or they could just play like a 30-second crowd work clip with the dates over it, like it's a Facebook reel.
Or like while you're pumping gas, something will pop up that says, "Would you like to keep watching?" And if you click yes, you just sit there and watch the rest of the special while cars are waiting to pump their gas.
There's people honking at you. It's like, hold on, I want to hear his take on climate change.
This guy's pretty good. Leave me alone.
Yeah, right.
You could do it where they put little cameras in the gas station. They just hire comedians to monitor the gas station pumps, and when people are getting their pumps, you come on live and you just start roasting the people that are pumping gas live.
That seems like a full-time job, but you know what? I could use some money.
Yeah, no kidding. I would do that.
Yeah. Then you have other comedians messaging you, "Who books the gas pump bit?"
Yeah, right. Who books the roast battle at the 7-Eleven?
Yeah, just send BP a video.
Here's my Comedy Central 5 minutes. Man. But so we touched on the special a little bit. You mentioned that you filmed it in a room that you had just previously done. What kind of went in with the venue? You said you talked to them and they were just like, yeah, for sure you can film the special. Like, how big was the room? Did you kind of take that into consideration? Like, was it like kind of sort of a small, like, intimate setting, or what was it like?
Well, I booked my first special was at a comedy club, but in their like side room. So it was like, only seats like 60 people. I packed it out, blah, blah, blah. But this one, where I shot it, it looks great. It's a music venue. Like, they mainly do music shows there. But, it's got that great backdrop. I feel like anyone who's been watching my clips on Instagram probably hates the color red by now, because it's nothing but me performing in front of a red curtain. And so the people who own the venue, I actually went to high school with like the guy's daughter. So, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we're always looking for more stuff to do." So I got to do it there, and it seats a lot of people. One negative I'll say, I didn't get a ton of people to come. It was a decent turnout, but it could have been way better. And, in a music venue, like, you got the higher ceilings and sound travels differently. So I was like, turn the volume up so you can hear the laughs. But it came out really well, and it all worked out. And the venue was great, and the people were great, and everybody apparently said it was great. So even my mom laughed, and she hates comedy. So
I know that feeling.
yeah, that was like I think that was the first show she's been to post COVID. Like my dad comes like maybe once a month out to see a show. My mom has to be something special or like a bunch of people she knows because she just doesn't enjoy comedy. She doesn't really laugh. She's like savage too. Like she'll come up to me after the show and be like, "The comedian that went on before you, did they have a good day job?" And so she's a monster. But it's great.
That's who you need sometimes, dude. Like you need to unleash your mom onto some of these open micers. Tell them just get out.
Next time she comes to a show, I'm just going to give her one of those like comment cards that they give you at the comedy club, and just be like, "Can you just write a little note about each comic on the show?" Notice my name's not in there.
Oh my God! Can you imagine how shitty that would be? Like you go up to do your first open mic, you get off stage, and there's like a little old lady that's just like, "Honey, don't quit your day job."
True story. Funny you say that. Many years ago, the first time I went like way on the road, I did a bunch of shows in Florida, and I was supposed to do 30 minutes on each show, and I maybe had like 7 minutes. So, needless to say, the first few shows did not go well. And after the first show, what the hell was the town name? I don't know. It was like New Smyrna Beach or something. And the average age of the crowd was like 85 years old. And I get like 3 laughs in like 25 minutes. And as I'm walking off stage, some old woman very loudly goes, "That was terrible."
Dude, Florida is savage, dude. Florida is the most savage place you can do stand-up. Like, the worst shows I've ever had were all in Florida. And Jacob can attest to that.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. I went back last year, finally. I headlined one of the Bonkers Comedy Club. And the shows were good, but they were insane. Like, 2 audience members got in a fight during one show. Yep. Somebody fell down the stairs. So many weird. It was, people just yelling out stuff. Like, not even like in a bad way, just in a like, well, this isn't how comedy should work, but okay, we'll go with that.
Yeah, dude. I feel like all the rest of Florida is wilded with that crazy shit that happens during the comedy shows. And then you go to Pensacola and you say the word porn and they fucking clutch their pearls. They're like, "Oh my God, I can't believe he's talking about masturbation in a comedy act.
This is an R-rated show?"
It's like, I'm in Florida. I'm going to talk about everything.
Dude, I got heckled to death in Florida one time so bad that I was depressed for like 2 straight weeks afterwards and just questioned every bad decision I've ever made in my life. Like, this is where I'm at. Like, it was bad.
So let me tell you more about the first time I went to Florida. This was, again, many years ago, like 15 years ago. So I bomb on the first show, and the woman says, "That was terrible." And then the headliner goes up, and, he's some, like, Hawaiian shirt-wearing guy who probably isn't even allowed outside of the state of Florida. Nice. And he goes up, and he opens with, "Hey, guys, give a round of applause for Joe Pontillo. You might not realize it now, but one day you'll be sitting home watching David Letterman, and so will Joe." And the crowd was like, "Ah!" They didn't feel bad enough.
Oh, that's horrid.
Dude, there's nothing worse than when, like, a comic goes up and starts, like, doing the, like, hack stuff, like, just the hackiest jokes, the hackiest premises, and is absolutely murdering with it. And then you realize, like, oh, I had no shot in this room because that's what they're laughing at.
He was doing, like, Daryl Strawberry cocaine jokes. I think he had a reference to the movie Cop and a Half, which came out in, like, 1992.
I don't even know what that is.
Exactly.
I'm 23. I've never heard of cop and a half in my entire life. Jason, do you know cop and a half?
Wasn't that Burt Reynolds? Wasn't that
Yeah.
like a Burt Reynolds movie?
Where he's a cop and his partner, I think, is like a 6-year-old kid or something.
Oh, that's when the 80s got real bad.
Yeah, that's when Burt Reynolds was like, "Yeah, whatever. I just need money at this point. I don't care.
I need to make my Trans Am payment for the month. I'll do it."
His mustache doesn't pay for itself.
I need some mustache wax.
So, Joe, talk to me about how you got the gig on Gotham Comedy Live for Access TV, because that's some of my favorite comics of all time have performed on that little showcase show.
Oh yeah, let me tell you what a journey. So I first submitted for it in like 2014, and I just no one submitted me for it. I had the email and I took a shot, and the guy who books it, the guy who owns Gotham, eventually did watch it, and he was like, "You're great. You'll definitely do the show, but I need to see a video where you have less, like more personal material. Like I had like a Subway joke on there, and like I think a joke about like the Weather Channel and something." So I'm like, "All right, fair enough." So like a year passes, and then it was almost like 2 years. I finally get another video to send to him, and like 6 months later, he's finally like, "All right, you're in. But you're not in for this season. You have to wait till next season." So it was a whole nother year that I had to wait. And not only that, but it was the last season they were doing, and they were no longer doing it live. So, the show title is now live. And Paula Poundstone hosted the show I was on.
Hell yeah!
And
wow.
I don't know what she brought me up for an intro, but it was very. She was like, "Give it up for Jumpin' Joe Pontillo." What? So that was a whole 3, and then finally, like 6 months later, the episode aired. So it was like almost like a 3.5-year process for that, for my first like legitimate TV credit. But I guess worth it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it was cool to get in like while you could, I guess, because you finally made it on the last season. Like, you made it like just past the curtain call.
I had a couple friends who got passed to do it and never actually got to, perform on the show. So I feel very lucky that I was able to get on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right. Paula Poundstone, dude. I'd pound her, Paula.
Oh.
What?
I think she's in jail now.
Is she? Is Paula Poundstone in jail? She's definitely getting her stone pounded.
I'm not, you'll have to Google it. I'm not getting it.
I thought she passed away. Didn't she pass away not too long ago?
This is how terrible comedians are. After I did Gotham Live, I posted a picture of myself, and one of the pictures was with Paula Poundstone. And half the comments other comedians were leaving were just roasting her.
That's hilarious, dude.
Yeah.
She has some shit for like child endangerment. That's hilarious.
Yeah, in 2001 she was charged with felony child endangerment. Wow.
But she's gay, isn't she?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, that's why she's like back on Netflix already. The gays can't get canceled.
What?
We've tried. They can't.
And she dresses like Charlie Chaplin.
He does. Dude, Ezra Miller has a movie coming out this year that's going to make him millions of dollars. The gays are uncancelable.
Is he
they
gay?
Can commit all the crap.
Like, no, I thought he was gender something fluid or something, or he's everything.
He's like bisexual, non-binary.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like, I know we shouldn't support Ezra Miller because he seems like a maniac that should be in jail, but man, I want to see that movie. I want to see Michael Keaton as Batman again.
Yeah, like I'm gonna see the movie. just sucks that I'm lying in Ezra Miller's pockets. He kidnapped people.
That's the thing. Like, before that trailer came out, I was like, I'm boycotting that movie. I'm not going to see it. I'm not supporting Ezra Miller. And then they showed me
stop, madman.
They showed me Michael Keaton, and I was like, God damn it, you got my money.
Yeah, if it was just Ben Affleck Batman, I'd be like, I don't need to see that.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm good.
Dude, the next Flash is going to be Paula Poundstone.
I think she's Reverse Flash in the movie, actually.
Yeah, right.
Dude, wouldn't it be awesome if Adam West was still alive and they could, like, digitally de-age him to be in that movie? That would just that would be perfect.
They just go to a timeline where all the heroes dance for some reason.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I'd pay to see that.
Yeah, your costume isn't even bulletproof. How are you even fighting crime like this?
He punched me, and then a comic book tile came up and said, "Bam!" How is that possible? That's the best superpower I've ever seen.
Dude, he's got bat shark spray in the belt. I mean, he's always prepared for every scenario.
Yeah, dude, bat shark repellent. Don't leave home without it.
Probably can't stop a bullet, but he's got like bullet removal spray or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Dude, he doesn't need to stop a bullet. He has Robin.
Yeah.
old chum, jump in front.
Yeah, right. Holy rocks, Batman. They're holy. So, Joe, what was the difference in doing this special from your first special? So you have your first special came out a few years ago. I think it's for sale on Amazon. What's the difference between doing something like that and then doing something now for YouTube?
Well, actually, full disclosure about the first special. So it was streaming on Amazon, I guess for free for like 3 years. And then one day someone saw me at a show and messaged me, and they were like, "Hey, I tried to watch your special on Amazon, and it said that it's unable to be played in this country." I was like, "Excuse me?" And then I went through it, and I'm like, "I can't play it." And then I emailed Amazon. I was like, "What the hell?" And they go, "Oh, yeah, well, it no longer was meeting our required viewing minutes per month, so we're taking it down." And I was like, "Oh, no, that's my credit." But at the same time, I'm like, that's fine. So, like, the first special, I feel like that was me just, like, emptying the tank of, like, every joke I'd been doing for the last, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years or something. I opened it up with, like, 10 to 12 minutes of just telling, like, stories about comedy, like, just to, like, ease into things. And then I kind of go into my act. In fact, you could see the full version of the Florida story that I just told you was in there. So that was that. And then for this special, it was more like I kind of just wrote a bunch of stuff that was just specific for this. That was all, like a lot of it's about like the last few years and about like where we are, like, politically and social media wise. So like, it's not a lot of the jokes I really only just told that night. And then that's it. And I brought back some, like, oldies that weren't on my last special and some other things. So, it was a much different mix.
Yeah. So is that kind of nerve-wracking, writing a joke and sort of doing it for a special?
Yeah, sort of. I had this sort of delusion that I was like, well, it's my special, it's my crowd. They'll probably just laugh at anything I do, even if it's not funny. Right. But they did make me work a little bit, but it still went well. But yeah, it just, as long as it has, I'm actually amazed because like it's not as if I ran through the whole thing a bunch of times. I had X amount of things. I was like, I want to do this, and then it all comes out of you, and I don't know how that happens. It's like you snap into focus, and you're like, oh, I can just pick and choose whatever thing I want to throw in there. I can't. You can't always do that on like a normal show, where you have like three jokes you really want to do, and you're like, well, I didn't do any of them. But on that night, it just all like clicked into place somehow.
Yeah, I mean, yet again, another ballsy move. Like, I have trouble trying a new joke just on a showcase and throwing it, like sandwiching it in between fucking 10 minutes of stuff that's good.
I literally did a joke that I came up with on the spot during the mic check before the show. I just started like riffing on something, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to open with that, and that wasn't even like a joke that I've been doing. I just rolled with it.
Yeah. Is that kind of the comic that you are, where you just kind of pick up on things and riff off of them?
Yeah, and then you hope that most times you get to a funny part. Occasionally you're just like, well, I'm just kind of ranting, but it's not really going anywhere. But it is what it is. It's all a process.
So do you have plans for? Are you writing a new set for another special?
Like after the first special I did, I kind of felt like deflated. I was like, well, I'm done now, and I feel like it took me like a year to like get back in the zone and being excited about comedy. But after this one, I feel like literally the next day I was like, I should do another special. I should do another taping. I should need to get to work on this right now. And I was like, all right, let's calm down. But no, I'm not. I don't have one imminently planned, but once I have the next sarcastic name for it, I'm ready to go.
There you go. And so, has this helped with your touring a little bit too? Like, have you been booking more shows since this dropped? Because it's already got 14,000 views on YouTube, and it's going up.
Which is amazing. I had no idea. When I had like soft posted it, I sent it to some people, and then they sent it to some people, and then I didn't even like do a full post about it. I literally just posted like a cover image on Facebook, and from there, it just like went off. And I was like, I'm so not used to this because I don't have a ton of followers on social media, despite everything. So I'm not used to like getting thousands of views on something. I'm used to like, oh, you got like 200 views. That's great.
Yeah.
But as for helping with bookings, I think I've actually lost a booking since. But it sounds, like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's good for like, because like you were like, oh, you did the special, I'm gonna do my podcast. Like that's cool because like I'm not always doing podcasts, and it's opened some doors, and people like, oh, people find it impressive. A lot of other comedians are always like, that's great, and I'm like, is it? That's just how I am. But if nothing else, like I feel like I've so broken open like myself, like joke wise, that it's like, oh, I've got stuff from that special. I've got stuff from the first special. I've got stuff that was on neither special. I've got new stuff that I'm writing. So it's just like, kind of just like an endless like array of like jokes to pull from now, which is so kind of fun.
Yeah. I mean, that's the upside of releasing a special now, especially on YouTube. Like, I mean, people in all markets are going to want to book you because you just released a special. So they'll say, this guy's coming to headline this comedy club. Look at his special, watch the special. That's funny. You're going to buy tickets for the show. I mean, it helps out both people.
Yes, or watch it, get angry, and come down here and tell them why you hate it. But one or the other. Where's the? Oh, I think it was. But yeah, no, and that's the cool thing about it is like people will know you now, and that's something I didn't even think about. So I did a show like a few weeks ago, and somebody was like, I saw one of your clips on Facebook. I was like, oh, because I was going to be here? He goes, no, it just popped up. I'm like, all right. So that's, and so now it's like people are watching me that you would never think would watch me. You'd hope it would build follower base better, but, whatever.
Yeah, I kind of hope YouTube moves forward with the clips. It makes it a little easier to look at the clips, because when we usually do like TikTok stuff, clips for this show. But the one time I put something up on YouTube for just a clip from this show, it really took off, and it's something we should probably think about doing more of, because it got a lot of traction really fast.
Yeah, I have no interest in being successful at podcasting.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, no thanks. Too risky. I posted a fake clip of a podcast, and it got like a few thousand hits. So that's where people want to see clips of podcasts, short clips of stand-up. The only thing I'm worried about is, like, I always make fun of, like, how just completely oversaturated things are with stand-up comedy. And it was like, oh, it's so cool. Yeah, I released a special, and it's doing well, and people like it. And then I saw somebody posted a list of how many comedy specials have already been released this year. And it was like 147 specials.
Jesus.
And I was like, oh, no, I'm part of the problem, aren't I?
Right. Right. We're part of the problem, too. And anytime like someone has a special that comes on my radar, I'm immediately like, hey, you want to promote it on my podcast? What's up?
That's right, though. I was actually, funny story, I was like, gee, I'm getting all these views and stuff. You think somebody would ask me to be on their podcast? And then I think literally the same day you emailed me. And I was like, this guy gets it.
Right. Yeah. No, you would think, dude. I mean, this is something that I run into with the bigger comics we try to get on, too, is that, like, none of them are using podcast appearances to promote the same way that they have been. Like, last year even, you would promote a special and then you'd do the podcast run. That's how Andrew Schultz bought his special back from Netflix and made all this money by just going on every single podcast and then, making the rounds. And I've emailed people, not naming any names, but they'll be like, yeah, no, I only do my friends' podcasts anymore. Like, I'm not going on podcasts to promote stuff anymore.
Yeah, my wife does a podcast. I'm just going to do that one. She has 5 listeners, but she needs the boost.
Which, to be fair, the guy that I talked with is literally friends with Joe Rogan. So I'm like, okay, that I get, but it's like...
Well, it's that kind of friend, sure.
Yeah. But it's like, I mean, I've even talked to, like, local comedians who are putting on, like, a comedy festival. And I'm like, dude, come on my podcast to promote your comedy festival. Let's blow this thing up. And they're like, I'm too busy. It's like,
okay.
Brother, you have a day job.
Yeah, right.
You're a car salesman, brothers.
No, I'd rather not build any hyper anticipation. I just, I kind of want this festival or special to go under the radar if that's possible.
Yeah, I have no interest in selling tickets. Thank you very much. I will stay way far away from you.
Yeah, I have enough viewers. I don't need any more.
Right. But it's just so funny how things have been changing too. And it's like the whole podcast world has changed because no one wants to listen to a full podcast anymore. It's either clips or an hour-long compilation of clips.
Yeah.
Like Yin Yang Monkey will do this thing where it's just like amalgamations of like an hour of the funniest Tiger Belly clips. And then that gets like 1 million something views, but no one's watching the hour-long Tiger Belly podcasts.
Right.
I just don't have the time for that.
No. Well, see, when it's an hour worth of clip, then it's like you're watching a bunch of different things.
Right.
But when it's just one straight hour, you're like, oh, this is just one thing. This isn't good.
Right, but it's like, I mean, if you're going to resign yourself to an hour of consuming media, you would think you'd be like, I'm going to consume that hour of media from my favorite podcast by my favorite comedian, not, I'm going to consume that hour of media from a person who edits podcast clips against the will of my favorite comedian and screws them out of money.
Who's probably secretly making money that should go to the actual creator.
It's not a secret either, dude. All of those edits and clip channels, they get heavily monetized by YouTube for content that they don't produce.
Of all the things that they crack down on, that's the one thing they're like, that's fine.
Yeah, no, they really don't give a shit about that.
All right, well, gentlemen, we are reaching the end of the episode. And, Joe, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show.
I hope so. I never know how I come off on these things.
Oh, your microphone went weird again. You sound like you're on an old-timey radio.
So, guys, let me tell you, thanks for having me. I'll be at the local anybody in the theater this Sunday?
Dude, that's literally what it sounds like.
Here comes Babe Ruth with a home run. He broke his own record again.
He called his shots, and he called the person he was going to hit.
Oh, you're back now. No more old-timey radio.
Okay, sorry, but I don't know what caused that.
But tell everybody where they can find you on social media and where they can find the special.
You can go find me on YouTube and smash that subscribe button. You can watch the whole special there. And I also have several clips from my last special, Delete Your Account, on there. So if you want more Joe Pontillo stand-up. And then I got a bunch of sketches up there. I do a recurring character called Pontillo and Associates. That's a fan favorite, and some other ridiculous ones as well. And then follow me on Instagram, Pontillogram, and I guess TikTok before they ban it, also Pontillogram. And if you like Twitter, at Joe Pontillo, and I suppose Facebook. If you really hate yourself. And is there anything else? I don't know. I know my website is joepontillo.com. I have most of my tour dates there when I remember to update it.
Alrighty, so tour dates at joepontillo.com. Check out the special No One Asked for This. You can search for that or Joe Pontillo on YouTube. Smash that subscribe button like you would smash Paula Poundstone. Just fucking down and dirty. Smash that subscribe. Smash that like button.
Yeah, I will put the links.
Her now.
I'll put all the links in the show notes so you can just go follow him wherever. Check out the special and go look at his tour dates. And so, Joe, thank you for coming on the show. And you're back to being old-timey radio again. So tell everybody where they can where your next show is going to be.
Well, I always thought I was born in a different era, so I put this filter on so I can sound like I'm doing radio in the 50s. I'll be opening for Groundhog Marks this weekend. This week, where am I at? I'm in New Jersey on Thursday doing the Capital Craft in East Hanover, New Jersey. And then Saturday, I got a private gig in New Jersey. Sunday, Brooklyn, New York, 6 p.m., the Floridian Diner. I'm eating dinner. It's not a show. But feel free to come ask me. No, it's a good show, apparently, so come out to that. And then, and everything else on the website.
Do me a favor real quick. Your mic's going weird. Say exterminate.
Exterminate!
Oh, yeah, dude.
Yeah, that's
sounds like
awesome.
a Dalek smoked 50,000 cigarettes at once.
But for future reference, that's what my phone does. We'll have to work on that. Because I still do the occasional Zoom shows.
Yeah.
So,
well, it was good for a long time, and now you sort of sound like you're a Dalek on an old-timey radio.
I'm sure my phone is just going to melt as soon as this podcast is over.
Yeah, dude, we're going to actually send this to the showrunners of Doctor Who after this and try to get you some work over there.
Thank you. I need the voiceover work.
Jacob, you got any shows coming up you want to push out there before we go?
Yes, sir. I'm glad you asked. Anyone who wants to come see me do some stand-up comedy, I'm going to be on a showcase this Friday in Mobile, Alabama, during Art Walk at Serta's Coffee Company. So head on out to Serta's Coffee Company during Art Walk in Mobile, Alabama. Get a cup of Joe. Come hear me do some 10 minutes of comedy. And then in May 6th, I will be in Gulfport at Shandy Fest, the festival that's going to be at Chandelier Brewing Company. So May 6th, Gulfport, this Friday, Mobile. Come see me.
And I'm doing Red Radio After Dark, May 13th. They haven't put out the tickets yet, but it will be available on Eventbrite, so I will let everybody know when those tickets are available. It's going to be burlesque, comedy, and music, so it's going to be a really cool, old school kind of cabaret type of night. So it's going to be really cool.
So you're trying to get in on that old-timey radio announcer then.
Yeah, that's what I need. I need the old-timey radio. Like, come out to see Red Radio. But it's going to be Red Radio After Dark, and I'll let you guys know as soon as those tickets are going to drop. And I think that's going to do it for this week. Let me play our music here. And if you want to email us, you can email us at OpenMicersPodcast@gmail.com. We're at OpenMicers Linktr.com, and also our Linktree is Linktree/OpenMicersPodcast. You can join the Patreon at patreon.com/OMPodcast, and of course, go to brescoffeeco.com and use the code OMPodcast for 10% off your order, and we will see you guys next week.
Let's get Paula Poundstone on the podcast.
I mean, what could she possibly be doing right now?
Hitting kids.
Keeping them locked in her basement.
Oh man, dude, she used to be like on every single like comedy thing back in like the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, well, the Gotham Comedy Live show, like, most of the hosts were like people who were relevant like 15 to 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So it was like her, and then it was like the guy who was the judge on Night Court.
Oh, Harry Stone.
Who else? Fran Drescher hosted an episode. William Shatner. I mean, he's still relevant, but shouldn't be hosting a show like that. It's all very random.
Yeah, she has a new Netflix credit from a year ago. She did like one of the festival things for Netflix.
Oh.
That's what I'm saying, dude. If you're gay, you can't get canceled.
I'm going to go ahead and stop the stream before Jacob says anything else to get us canceled. So
let's talk about the blacks.
Jacob, no!
Jacob,
this will be a great TikTok clip. Don't take down TikTok, you'll cook our goose.
All right, we will see you guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next week.